So when Laura told you, or asked you, I shouldn't say, didn't tell you that you're going to be doing this, but asked you if you would do this, and you obliged.
Yeah.
Where were things at with the fundraising efforts?
Well, like I said, the effort that she put in and the board has put in up until this point, we've had, I think we've had 4 large fundraisers that we've done in the past several years. And so the process of raising funds for this museum and to be able to finally purchase this building is really come about, kind of a long story, but the short version is being able to do a study several years ago when we were going to partner with the North of Wasco County Parks and Recreation District to maybe have a space with them somewhere. And that ended up not working out, but in doing that, we really were able to have a more in-depth study of what the needs of the building might look like.
So that helped out anyway.
So that was huge, actually, and it really helped us to kind of redirect and refocus. And then the board had a lot of foresight and decided, okay, it's time, if we're going to really establish this as a permanent space and not be renting, and to really make it sustainable. Of course, we had to do a lot of research and look at other children's museums and why they are successful, but then we also realized that we were going to need some outside support and some help. And so we brought in Paul Lindbergh, and he's with Hat Creek Consulting. And so he was able to help us with some of not only the fundraising efforts, but also some of the grants and those opportunities that we can collaborate to apply for. And see, he's still working with us to be able to get to our goal of $600,000. And so I took over at the point where we were looking for matching funds. We need to have about 50% of community funds raised, local funds raised, so we can begin that grant application process. So we're nearly there. What happened was we would have been there even sooner, except for the fact that the economy really fell apart. And grants actually used to look for about 30% of funds raised. Now they look for more at that 50% mark.
Another 20%, that's a lot.
Right. Yeah. So and it sort of took the wind out of our sails for just a minute, because that was a little bit discouraging. We felt like we were we're there. We got that. We can begin the grant process, but we kind of had to step back and reassess a second and be able to again move forward. And so that's where I was able to step in and say, okay, where are we at? And how much farther do we need to go to really get those grants completed and really secure some of that additional funding, and then finally get that construction.
So when did you guys get it started?
Finished. Well, actually, we've actually done almost $100,000 of improvements to the facility already. So being able to do some of the windows and doors, and some of the we did the outside, which looks wonderful. Our neighbors were so happy when we did that.
Sure.
And some other basic improvements, the HVAC and that sort of thing. And so we were able to sort of had that money to be able to spend, which we were really excited about. Then we had a little bit of a lull, a little bit of a change with the economy tanking out. And so now we're really just gearing up to be able to start that construction again.
So that's actually going to start.
That's happening soon. I would hope that if we can kind of follow the timeline that we've sketched out a little bit, we hope that we can begin construction hopefully by late summer or early fall.
Great.
And then our goal, and I'm going to say it,
yes,
because I teased the board that our goal is to open in May of 2012.
Wow.
And I think we can realistically
ambitious.
I think we can do that, though. I think that the support that we've had, I think that the solid numbers that we have from the contractors that we're working with, I think that's a realistic time frame to be able to be open and have the exhibits up and running.
Well, that'd be
yes,
really cool.
That would be really exciting. Yes.
So tell me then a little bit about what the new building is going to be able to offer the community as far as exhibits and events and parking and all of that. Things that maybe were real obstacles in the sort of transient years.
Yes, it was definitely transient. Yeah, and that's another thing that really came out of some of those community surveys and studies that we did, is to be able to have adequate parking, to be able to have a large space, because in a museum you really want that flexibility of changing exhibits, and you don't want to really get tied into a smaller location or something that you couldn't rearrange when you need to based on the exhibits that you brought in.
And what is the square footage of that
it's about
place?
5,000 square
About
feet
5,000.
actually.
Okay,
Yeah,
so significant.
it's not the prettiest building you ever saw. It's got beautiful
Yet.
It looks a lot better now with some of the improvements that we've already done. It's got some great skylight, so it really lets some nice natural light in because it doesn't have a whole lot of windows. But it's really just perfect as far as the space, the location. It's right downtown. It's really helping re-energize the other kind of the east end of the Dalles, and with the new Madison Square buildings, with Taco Del Mar and River Tap and Optimus Printer. There's a whole lot of things that are happening right around there too. And so we really took that idea, that kind of town square concept of being able to not only provide a museum and exhibits that we'd bring in on a consistent basis, but also programmings, other classes, being able to allow different organizations to rent that space if they need to for certain activities. Maybe, for example, we could sponsor the robotics club, and we've worked with them before, and they can be able to use that space to either showcase some of the things that they've been working on, or have an exhibit available at the museum. So there's a whole lot of possibilities.
Are you guys going to be bringing
us
in more exhibits
Absolutely.
like from OMSI? Because I know that you mentioned you had done that before.
Right, and we would love to continue to bring in those traveling exhibits. And so that's one of the reasons that we established the Kathy Ann Kortge Memorial Exhibit Fund, a long name, but we actually call that the Grandma Ann Fund because she had 6 grandchildren, and so they called her Grandma Ann. And
you're one of them.
Yes, well, no, this is my mother-in-law, but my kids call her
okay,
that. Yeah.
Okay.
And so that fund is going to be able to help us bring in additional exhibits. So we anticipate having 6 kind of established exhibit spaces. So those are the things that we'd have. We'll always have an art studio. We'll always have something that has to do with science, food and nutrition. We want to make sure we have some construction, and then something that'll just really concentrate on kind of nature and the gorge in which we live.
Right.
We have really great resources available in this community, and we want to showcase that too. And so building off those basic exhibits, then we can bring in different programs and really have a lot of other classes and exhibits available for the community to attend.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
Before we go, how do people get involved if they want to help?
Well, go to our website is actually a really good place to learn about Wonderworks.
Okay.
That's wonderworkschildrensmuseum.org, and that'll kind of show you the history of the organization. It's a really beautiful website. Chris Miller and Open Intelligence Agency helped us design that, and it's brand new. It has a lot of the exhibit information. It talks about the fundraising efforts that we're currently doing. It talks about kind of where we've been and where we're going. So that's the best resource. We also have a family festival we're hosting May 7th. And we actually hope that is something that's going to be an annual occurrence. We want to host that every May, and that's why we're hoping for a grand opening next year. To really have a presence and a children festival in the gorge. And you can contact me.
And they can contact
and
you?
you can find me. I'm not hard to find, and I'll be happy to share that information. So I think those are the good places to start.
Awesome. Well, Cynthia,
thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Fellow Wonderworks kids
yes,
here.
That's right.
So
everybody wants to be a Wonderworks kid.
Right. Good stuff. All right. Well, thanks you guys for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. And remember, take care of each other.
Do you have a guest idea? Let us know. Go to localite.com.